Hi, everybody. This is Carmela from Carmela's Rasslin Radio Relived, and it is my partner, Jeannie. Hi, honey. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Good. We are so excited today. You don't even know,
Beyond. Yeah.
okay? Beyond excited. Jeannie and I are marking out to death here, okay?
Yeah.
We have an incredible guest. My God, she is like the epitome of what a female wrestler is,
Yes.
okay? Um, we're going to talk to her, and then later on in the show, when we're after we talk to her for a while, Joel's going to come on real quick, and he's going to announce a few things about what's coming up in the show. He's going to make a couple of announcements because you're going to hear them here first. So without any further ado, my heart is beating. I'm already sweating. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. I don't even know how to introduce her. I'm so excited. Okay, you would never know I've been involved in wrestling for 61 years, and I'm acting like this. Okay, all right. You guys all know her as Babydoll. Okay, from the NWA, and her name is Nickla Roberts, and we're just going to bring her on right now. Hey, lady.
Hey
Woo!
y'all, thank you for having me.
Oh my God, thank you for coming. I
We are
can't.
beyond honored that you are on the show. And
It's
I
crazy.
just have to fangirl out and mark out because
Uh
back in the 80s, you were just the epitome of a badass wrestling woman. I wanted to be you. I
Oh, thank you.
really did. I really did. And it was just, you were just amazing. You were just amazing.
See, now in
Thank
my
you.
case, I would have wanted to be you earlier. You see, I'm older than you, so I would have wanted to be you way before. But I mean, I worked with you in when we were at the Civic Center in Philadelphia in the
Mhm.
NWA, and it's like even back then, like I was in the back with my little girl, and we were doing stuff. Joel and I were partners back then, and I just like I saw you. And I was like, oh dear God, like look at her. It's amazing because it's like you were, you know, like I said, badass. Jeannie said it right, badass, and there was like no words back then, and there's no words today either. But
Wow.
it's amazing, and the people are going to love this. Hopefully, we'll stop marking out, and we'll be able to actually interview you. Okay, um, but I wanted to let you know that our podcast is predominantly about stories. We like to
Okay.
do old school stories. So, if you wouldn't mind, could you please tell us how you got involved in wrestling? How did it start?
Um, Pretty much when people say that they've been in wrestling all their life, I've been in wrestling all my life. Both my parents were professional wrestlers. I grew up with my dad's promotion, setting up the ring, setting up chairs, selling popcorn programs. I mean, for 22 years, he promoted in Lubbock, Texas. And we did spot shows, and I grew up watching Terry Funk and Dory Funk Jr. and Harley Race and Andre the Giant. It was a big deal whenever he came to town. And being part of the NWA, we got the world's champion twice a year so we could build up talent. And so that that world champion would have someone to compete against so that he would be a world's champion, and go to all the territories and he could say, okay, what's your best and your baddest? And whether it was Harley Race or Dory or Terry or um, the Briscoe or um, with Jack Briscoe. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, we had so many that came through there. We were
Yeah,
very fortunate. And then being with the territory system, we also got wrestlers like what I said, Andre the Giant would come in a couple of times a year. Um, Dusty Rhodes started out in like wrestling in Amarillo in like the late 60s. So I got to see him start out. I saw the Hart Boys start out. They came down to train it with Terry and Dory. So I met Brett when he was just starting. He gave me a Calgary um, hockey jersey. Um,
oh nice.
it was a kind of childhood that if you really, really like wrestling that I did, it was great. I don't think if you liked wrestling very much, it would be kind of horrible because all the time you're wrestling's fake and what your dad does is fake and the whole thing, like going to
Yeah,
school. But it was just different times, and you got pretty tough at it. So, I mean, I grew up in the business. So when the opportunity came, they were looking for a girl for Gino Hernandez. And I thought it would be I would fit in. They wanted like a bodyguard type. And I'm like 5'10" and really athletic. So I called the Dallas office and spoke with David Manning. He thought it was a great idea. They were getting ready to have a meeting with Fritz. He thought it was a great idea. I started in about 2 weeks after that phone call, quit college, moved to Dallas, went to go to TV, and Jake the Snake Roberts actually opened up the door for the TV studio for us to, we both started World Class at the same time.
Wow.
Worked in Dallas from Labor Day to Christmas Day of 1984, worked Reunion Arena, sold out Reunion Arena, had the big Cotton Bowl show, and it was a lot in just 4 months. And then just happened to see Tully and Dusty in Tampa. I think, no, it was in Miami on Christmas Day. And I had no idea that they were looking for a girl for Tully. And they'd already done promos and little vignettes for it, that they were looking for the perfect tan. And it was whenever I walked through the dressing room door, they were like, that's her. That's what we've been looking for. And I gave my spiel, and Dusty and Tully both said that they had their mind made up before I'd even said anything, because it worked. And then finding out that I was from Texas, they had heard about Sunshine from Texas, so they were kind of interested in her. So they thought I was Sunshine. They didn't know about anything else, because I just fit. And I knew whenever I had my match with Stella that if they were still outside the dressing room door whenever I walked to the ring, if they were still out there, I had the job. If they weren't there, I didn't hold their interest, and I might as well go back to Lubbock and go back to school. And Tully and Dusty were both, because the dressing rooms on either side, I could see them. And it was just like they were still standing outside the door. And so I knew I had the job. And sure enough, I started that January and worked for right at a year with Tully, and then went with Dusty and Flair, and got shipped off to Kansas City for a little bit. And then I made gear for the guys. And then I had my 2 little girls and went back to Lubbock and started the kayfabe life, I guess, and just took care of my daughters. And wasn't until about 2002, I think, I did a show for Sal Corrente in Tampa. It was a wrestling reunion show. I was like the surprise guest of Jeff Jarrett when he went against Tully, because Tully had JJ in his corner, and then he brought me out special to go against Tully. So I did that, and then I did a Capitol reunion show. It was a Legends reunion show in Maryland, and just met some people and got talked into moving into North Carolina and doing shows. And then my daughter started wrestling, and here we are.
Well, I'll tell you,
I think it's like 39 years later. I think I celebrated 39 years.
God bless you. Well,
And no, actually, I take that back. Labor Day was 40 years in the business.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
God bless you. That's really great.
Right.
Well, I wasn't a wrestler, but my parents were involved in wrestling. I started going when I was 6 years old.
Right.
And, we started talking to the wrestlers and this and that. And with me, it was back then, wrestlers always had to find their own way, their own trans, their own hotels, their own whatever. And a lot of them slept in their cars. So my mom and dad was 2 little Italian people, and we were like, well, why don't you come to our house? Why don't you come to our house? And why don't you come to our house turned into everybody always coming to our house, and that's what it's been all these years. And then in the 80s, Joel and I started the radio show. And actually, I was the first woman to ever have a talk show on the radio for professional wrestling. So that was cool, but let's get back to you. I read that you were an athlete from the time you were in high school doing what's that called now? Pot shoot? No.
Oh, shot put.
It's not a shot put. There you go. I read it today, and I'm like, you're going to forget that. But yeah, and that's awesome. That is really awesome. But the fact that you were such a prominent figure in such a time where women were so disregarded as far as they compared to what they are today. Mm-hmm. Like, you've wrestled men. you went against men, you went against women. There's like nothing that you didn't do.
Right.
What was that like wrestling with men, like wrestling men? Or
Well, with Cornette, the whole angle and everything was I wasn't a wrestler. He wasn't a wrestler. He disrespected women. So I was going to stand up for all womankind against the dastardly Jim Cornette,
yeah.
slap some sense into him, pound him a little bit. Everybody's happy. Yay. And away we go. And it worked. I had 14 matches. I had tag team partners with everybody from Road Warriors to Dusty and Magnum. Oh my gosh, Murdoch was in there, Rock and Roll Express several times. So, I mean, I got to work with the best of the best. And from to this day, Cornette says that month that he worked against me, he made more money than any other
Wow.
time in his career. So, cha-ching, we win.
You got that right, lady. I mean, that's awesome. Now, where did you get the name Babydoll?
It's actually was Tully's favorite strip club in San Antonio.
Wow.
Why am I not surprised?
I don't mind.
My
It fits
God.
me. And to this day, people say, well, what should we call you? Are you Nickla? Are you Babydoll? I like BD or like Babydoll because that's what made money. Nickla hasn't made that much money. I mean, I survived, but Babydoll was a moneymaker. And I love it. I mean, who wouldn't want to be called Babydoll?
No, I
Yeah.
mean, I would love that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
But you pushed the bar. You really, not only did you hold the bar, you
Right.
pushed it and you benched it and you did everything with that bar. And I got to be honest with you. Again, you were back in the day, like these girls today have nothing on the stuff that you went through and on the stuff that you did. I mean,
Right.
the girls that are there today, we were talking about this before, like everything's rehearsed, everything is scripted, everything is this, everything is that. And we don't do kayfabe on the show. So
Okay.
like we were told by the gentleman wrestlers that we had here that back in your time, you almost didn't really know what was going to happen except for maybe the finish. You had to kind of learn everything as you went along. Is that
Oh,
right?
yeah. Right. Oh, we might have like a slight buildup of a couple of moves and then go into it. But the guys knew the dance so well that they really didn't even have to talk. Like, oh my gosh, like with Midnight Express against Rock and Roll Express, the dance that they did. Plus, then with territories, you could have the same match in Columbus, Georgia, and then Charlotte, and then Raleigh, and then Richmond, and then Charleston and circle back around without anybody knowing because that's how it worked. That's how you worked the angles and figured out what worked and what didn't. And then once it worked, then you could take that and then go to another territory and build it up again. Well, back then I was like the only girl for a long, long time in Crockett territory. Now Dallas had you had Precious, you had Sunshine, you had Stella Mae, you had myself, you had Missy Height come in, you had Lady Blossom, you had oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. Chris Adams is what Tony. You had all them within like a 2 or 3 year period. So Dallas had a lot of the girls. While with myself, with Crockett, I was so very fortunate. I was like the only one. And I started with Crockett in January of 85. And Miss Elizabeth started, I believe, in August of 85. So she was about 8 months after myself. The only one that was before me that was nationwide. And like Sunshine and Missy and them were different, but Missy even started over a year after I did. But Nancy, Chris Benoit's wife, woman, she started in July of 84 and I started in September of 84. So she started just a few months before so that's how many. And see, someone did a paper on my daughter, on Samantha Starr. And back whenever my mom was wrestling in like the mid 50s, there were, I believe, 48 girl wrestlers in all of the United States. Wow. That's for Alaska, Hawaii, everybody, 48 girl wrestlers out of everybody. Now there's over 4,000 girl wrestlers. That's so crazy. When you think of like how much times have changed, and how many girls there are, it was so different from my mom's time. Then to my time and then my daughter's. It's been like a complete 180 every time, and we each had our own challenges. Now for myself, just being the only girl, I had the time of my life. I mean, I really did. But also having the time of my life, I had more heat, I think, than any girl ever in
I
professional
believe
wrestling.
that.
In
Yep.
1985, I had to literally fight my way to and from the ring. And if no one believes me or someone wants to call bullshit on me, just ask Arn Anderson, because he was the one standing in the back and saw me just waylay people going and take it
Oh
for
my
what it
God.
was. But I mean, we very seldom had guardrails. We very
Yeah.
seldom had security. And if we did have security, it seemed like they wanted to grab my arms and like push me through the crowd. It's like, no, let me just kind of walk through without getting hit. And
Yeah.
they didn't know, but I mean, it was
Tell
part of it.
tell us a little bit about what kind of heat you got. Was it from the fans? Was it from the wrestlers, other
Mm.
girls, promoters?
It was strictly fans. I mean, Tully knew how to push the buttons. It was 8675 or whatever. And through his promos and just walking out to the ring, I was also very, very fortunate whenever I started out in Dallas. I worked with Jake the Snake Roberts, and we did a lot of road trips. And I listened. I listened to his stories because he was also just starting out, even though he'd been in the business for a really, really long time, because Grizzly Smith was his dad, and he also grew up in the business. Being in the business is different. And so I listened, like how to be a heel, like slow things down, make
Mhm.
them look at you. It was just, if it hadn't been for Jake, I don't think Babydoll would have been the same character as what I was able to portray. So it was
Wow.
fun. And then with Tully on your side and Flair and all them, shoot,
Well,
I
let me
rode that lightning bolt for a little while.
yes, you did. You did a good job too. When you came up to this area with the NWA, how long did it take you to get up this far? Like before you actually came up to the Civic Center and in Philadelphia and stuff like that.
I think we started May of 85. It was pretty quick because I remember some of my promo pictures that I still use. Because at the Civic Center they had the stage and the big curtains,
Yep.
and I
Yep.
remember that. So, and then there's a couple of pictures when Tully and I very, very first started in like the hallway, and he's sitting on the stairs, and I just kind of leaned in, and they took it's a black and white picture, and that might have been April of 85. It was pretty
Wow.
soon, and we instantly got heat. See, that's how, and this is one of my good stories is
Okay. Great.
when John Tatum was working for Crockett. His match was after Tully, so he is like standing in the staging area, and Tully and I had just come back, and we were like third match, but we had like major heat, super, super heat coming back. And Tatum looked at me and he says, "I'm going to get me one of those." I kind of looked at him like, okay, well, then he left. He just split, like Tatum ghosted. He was Houdini. He went down to Atlanta, picked up Missy Hyatt, and went to Dallas, and they started just a couple of months later with John Tatum and Missy Hyatt.
Oh
So
wow.
he saw me and knew Missy, and Missy was part of the wrestling scene down there in Georgia, and just how well did that work out? Because Tatum and Missy together were good, really
They
good.
were good. They
Yeah.
were very good. Yeah. As a matter of fact, she worked for us. She did some stuff for us, personal appearances and all that. She
Right.
was. She really was. I want to put you on a spot a little bit now. What was the difference, or what was better, working with Tully or Dusty?
Oh, complete 180. I mean, just Tully and I rode together. We flew together. We were pretty much married for the whole time we were together.
Okay.
We even lived, he even let me stay in his apartment. He had a 2-bedroom apartment when I first got into Charlotte, and I was staying in a hotel. And he says, "Why don't you just move in with me? It'll be great for the gimmick. You got your bedroom. I've got my bedroom." We'd already had worked it out that there was going to be nothing between us. It was strictly business, that if anything went awry or askew, it would ruin everything. And he didn't want to be mad at me, and I didn't want to be mad at him for anything. It's just too easy. You know what I'm saying? It's the wrong look. It's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's why it worked. That's why, because it was just professional from the very start.
Exactly.
So, gosh, Tully taught me so much, and I made really, really good money. While with Dusty, it was easy, and it was easy being a baby face, but I think it was so much better as a heel, so
You were
It's
good.
6 of one, half dozen of another. It's like, okay, what's the difference between gold and platinum? It depends on what you like more, because both are precious. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't have traded my time with any of them.
That's great. Well, we saw you when you were up here with us. You were with Dusty, I believe, at the time. And and it's like every time you came in the back, like after a match, you didn't hang around outside that much. So you would always come in and go and like go to the back or whatever. We hardly ever got to see you. And it really upset me because my daughter and I were like again, marked out over you. Like,
Right.
oh, Babydoll, Babydoll. I'm like, I don't know where she went. I wanted to meet you. She wanted to meet you. And then
That was part of Jake and Dusty teaching me. It's like the less they see you, the more they want to see you. And
very true.
I believe me, I hated it because I like the fan art. I like the gifts. I like hearing everybody's stories. That's why I like doing these Legends Fest now and all the conventions, because now I get to spend time with everyone, and it's so cool. It really is. I mean, it's a blessing to me for once get to see everybody.
Well, that's good because people, again, we're finding out doing this podcast that
Mhm.
the fans that listen to our show love the older stuff. They love
Right.
hearing the stories. They love, the interaction. They want to know what it was like years ago. Now, let's talk a little bit about. Now, you were married to Sam Houston for a while. Um,
Yes.
yes, and that's where you had your babies.
Yes.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your babies, both babies, before we get into Samantha?
Okay, sure. Sam and I were married from July of 86 until August of 94. We have two daughters, Micah Tyler. She was born January 1st, 1991. And yes, she's a New Year's baby.
Oh,
Um, the night before on Christmas Eve, I was watching Lost Boys and eating spicy Chinese food. So
oh
that's
my
what
God.
brought her on.
Way to
Um,
go.
and then Michaela Joy she was born September of 92. Michaela Joy is just beautiful inside and out. She's a professional wrestler. My oldest daughter is smart and does gardening and crochets amazing stuff. I mean, they're so different, but they're
Yeah.
so much alike. And
Oh,
God truly, truly blessed me. Out of everything I've done, being a mom,
it's
top
the best.
tier on
Yeah,
everything. Yes.
it's the best in the world.
Yes.
It truly is. So, what made your daughter? Now, her name is now Samantha Starr. What
Right.
made her get into wrestling? What she just wanted to follow you, or was it
It
something
was
else?
it was in her blood. I mean, when your mom and your grandma and your dad and your grandpa and your
Uncle or your
it's like your uncle, your aunt. I mean, I was kid. I said her lineage is almost as good as the Samoans. Almost. Not
you're
quite.
right. You're right about that. Yep,
But
yep. You're right.
she is the only third generation female superstar. There's several male generations, but no
Yeah.
one were the mom and the grandmother. She's
Wow,
the only
that's
one.
true. That's
And I
very true.
believe she's the only one of 8 that's third generation or something. It's just amazing how it's all worked out. So
That is
whenever
true.
I got back to doing shows, I moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina. And a couple of weekends a month, we were out, traveling, and she traveled with me. And
Mhm.
Samantha would watch my merch table while I did my appearance and went to the ring or whatever I was going to do for the event. So she learned how the shows worked just from working the table. And when she was about 14, we were working a show in South Carolina in I believe it was either Columbia or Orangeburg. And the guys that were in the ring, I trusted, and she was just like, "Well, do you think I can get in the ring?"
Aw.
Okay. So that night we drove back, and she was so sore. And then the next morning when I went to go check on her, she couldn't even lift her head up off the pillow. It's just like
Aw.
so. And she was just like, I know I have to get back in the ring. That's the only way I'm going to feel better is if I get back in the ring.
That's
And I
true.
knew that was it, because if you can that's the hardest thing of being a wrestler. I mean, you may want to so bad, but your brain says, no, you're not going to fall like that. You've taught
Yeah.
yourself not to fall because falling hurts. Well, training to be a wrestler, you teach yourself how to fall, and teach yourself how to fall and hit really, because the harder, the better. if you can get
Yeah.
over that. And that's the hardest thing for some people to get over. And she did. And she, started her own booking, started doing her own gear. I let her do everything because I can't take the bumps for her. I
Right.
can only lead by an example of what she should do and then go by that. But
Mhm.
I think telling someone exactly what to do unless they ask you, no, I
No.
just couldn't do it.
No, exactly. Joel's in the back there. He's going to be coming on a little bit later, but he told me last night that your daughter has a belt in the NWA.
I believe so. Yes. She won the tag titles with Ella
Okay.
Envy. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay, that's great. Now does
Yes.
she wrestle for other organizations too, or just the NWA right now?
Right now, because NWA keeps her really booked solid, and then we've done several events. Like we went to Utah this year.
Hmm.
We're going to Arkansas next month in November. Um, uh, that's kind of our way to meeting now because she moved down to Florida 2 years ago, so I hardly ever get to see her unless it's on a wrestling show. And then
Right.
I'm going to see her at WrestleCade at the end of November. So she worked for other promotions. Primarily, I would say 90% NWA because they're like really booking a lot. And
Right.
then with her other shoot jobs, she's very busy with that also. And then living in Florida, who doesn't want to go to the beach all the time? So she gets to go to the beach all the time.
Wow, that's awesome. Does she live by herself? Does she have a boyfriend?
Um,
Or
she's she's married to Dustin Rayner. He was
okay.
Bosworth with Broken
Oh,
Skull
okay.
Ranch, and he trained at Harley School. They've been married. Like, oh gosh, I've been married 7 years. I believe they've been married 6 years.
Wow, that's awesome. God bless her. That's really great. Okay, is there any chance that maybe we might see her coming a little bit closer to the East Coast?
Well, we're
She's
working
in the
on
East Coast now.
something next year. And it looks like as long as she doesn't have the NWA book, she's told me that she would love to make the event. So far, that's looking good.
Okay, so let me ask you this. God willing, if everything works out, would she be open to doing a podcast with you, like again for us?
Oh,
I'd
I'm
love
I'm
to have
sure
her.
so. We just have to arrange the time.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have her on, and I want to hear her tell us what it's like to have baby doll for a mom. Oh my God, I can't. But let me ask you another question. Were you ever um, her manager? Her like, do you ever do anything with her? Any spots with her in the ring or around
Yes,
the
we just
ring?
did. We had an event for Joe Beltart up in Chicago, and she won the belt. It was the last week of July last year, and she won the
Wow,
women's championship.
that's very cool. So
Oh, I
did you?
love doing that. And see, whenever she first went to NWA, I got to go to the ring with her a couple of times. And then they
Great.
saw that she could take care of it herself. And then I didn't get invited anymore, but
Aw,
her star is shining bright. I can't take that away from her.
no, I understand that. So she's a baby face now.
No, she's part of
Oh,
the It Girls. No, she's Ella
oh,
Envy and her great heels. Yes.
oh my God, that's great.
Yes.
I've been reading up on her, and it's funny because like I wanted to ask you to before the podcast if she would come on with you. I think I may have even written that in there, say your daughter can come on with you. But do you think this is something that she will do long term?
Well, she just turned 32 and she started when she was 14. So that's what,
Wow, yeah.
15 years,
God
more than
bless
half
her. I
her
think it
life.
is. Yeah, I think it is
Yeah,
going to be long
it's
term.
she's in it long term.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. I God bless you. I think that's great for her. So tell me now, as far as you do the cons and everything now, do you
Mhm.
ever miss actually getting in the ring and wrestling anymore? Do you miss that
No,
life? No?
no. I still like will I still valet, I still manage, I do all that, but no, actually taking bumps, I think it's best that I don't.
Now, did you ever get hurt real bad in the past? Like, did
Um,
you ever fall the wrong way or something turn out differently than you wanted it to?
the worst thing that happened to me was I chipped three of my teeth working with Cornette. I chipped them the day before 4th of July, and then had to fly back to Charlotte and get the dentist off Lake Wiley. No, it was Lake Norman. I'm sorry, Lake Norman.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in and fixed my teeth. I've been pretty lucky. So yes, knock on wood, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so out of all the matches you've had, do you have a particular favorite or anything like that you would like in your mind would like to happen? Like, you if you could have any match happen again, which match would it be?
Oh my gosh. This is Daisy.
Aww.
Um,
Adorable.
um, oh my gosh. Any match with like my daughter has been really good because it's different seeing her work because it's different because she's so athletic and so just she's good. She's really, really good. And she's really serious about it. And then like with her gear and the whole thing, I mean, she's taken it to a whole different level than I did. I would say any match with my daughter is just stellar. I mean, it's just doesn't get any better than that. I mean, I quit match with Tully and Magnum. My daughter's match is still better.
Yeah, well, of course it's going to be better. She's your daughter. She's your baby. But
Right?
she is stunning. She is stunning. God bless her. She's a
Yes.
beautiful girl. I saw Micah when she was younger. I haven't seen a recent picture of her.
Mhm.
I obviously have seen more recent pictures of Samantha. But they're both beautiful, beautiful girls. They
Oh,
really
yes.
are. God bless them both. But now, do you have like all of your cons? Are they all centered around where you live? I mean, do you ever travel like, other places to go to
Oh,
cons?
yeah.
I'm edging here. I'm edging, right?
We've been to St. Louis and Chicago and New Orleans and Texas. I went out to Lubbock, Texas in July. Had a great time. Looking forward to going back. Went all the way out to Utah.
Wow.
Yeah, uh, my husband doesn't always like it, but I love it because I love traveling. I love like the drive down to Charlotte and what the Charlotte airport, what how many miles am I going to have to walk till I actually get to the gate? And am I going to head the
Oh,
right way or am I going to head the wrong way? Charlotte Airport has been, I don't, it's an adventure.
is
Every
it
time I
really?
go, it's something different. So it's kind of fun to see what they've got. And it's all in how you look at it. Like most people are like, I can't do that. I hate traveling. I love it. I love to see the people. I love to be on like in a little adventure. What am I going to see? What kind of difficulties are going to come my way? Like the last time I flew, that's when all the computers went down. There was like 5 hours when there
Oh
were
yeah.
like no flights. Yes, that was fun.
That must
That
have been
was a lot of
interesting
fun.
though, too. Yeah.
But yeah, that's whenever I was going to Lubbock. Samantha didn't make it because she could not get out of Florida. There was no way. The only way she was going to get there was like I think she landed in Dallas at 7:30, and the matches started at 7. And Lubbock's
Oh,
350 miles from Dallas, and at least an hour flight. So there was no way she was going to make it that day. So I
yeah.
went by myself, but that was one of those that, gosh, I think I changed gates like 3 times. My luggage didn't make it. And
Wow.
of course, brilliant me, I had enough miles where I was able to upgrade my ticket. So I'm thinking I'm really fancy flying first class to Dallas, right? So they're letting me check all my bags, and I never check all my bags. I always carry at least one bag, so just in case something happens,
You have a
you're
back.
okay, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm adventure flying. I go with a wallet. That's all I'm carrying is my wallet and
Oh
a
my
phone,
God.
nothing else. And of course, everything stops. I can't get my bags. I can't go back home because guess what? I put my car keys in my backpack and I checked my backpack. So I am literally stranded.
Wow.
Oh my
So I'm sitting
God.
there and everybody's trying to figure out like flights, where are we going? There's no flights coming in, there's no flights going out, there's no communication.
Oh
There's
God.
not even anybody behind the desk. They're hiding because there's no information. If we're trying to pull up CNN and Fox News and whatever news station we can get to see, and nobody knows everything. The only airlines that were still flying was Southwest, and
Okay.
they hadn't done the upgrade on their computer systems. They were still running on a Windows system,
Oh my
but they weren't
God.
affected by whatever bug they got. So for 5 hours, so as soon as I got they switched me like gates like 3 times. So here I am flown C concourse to A concourse, back to B concourse, get on the plane. I'm hoping we're one of the first flights that take off out of Charlotte. We get to Dallas. By then, everything was starting to get back. So we're still like, oh my gosh, are we going to be in the middle of the air and everything shut off again? And are we going to be able to land? And people freaking out. But I did the show, got there like 4 hours. I was supposed to be there at 10 o'clock. I got there at 1:30, no luggage. They had no idea where my luggage was. I had my wallet and a phone, and I have to go to the show.
Oh my
So then they
God.
tracked down my bags, and they're supposed to be coming from Charlotte. They're hoping. And the lady that I talked to on the 800 number was so nice because I finally got tired of like punching them. I wanted to actually talk to somebody. And her name was Gretchen, and she was so nice. And she says, I know you're not going to believe me, but she says, I know your bags are on that flight, and they will be in Lubbock at 4:30. You just have to trust me. And for some reason I did. So I got to ride way back out to the airport, hoping, because in all the computer systems, my bags were nowhere. They couldn't even tell me where the bag was. They said, well, it could be on a plane, it could be on a truck, but we don't know. So there my bags came. So it was good. It was a good flight. I got my bags. I got Whataburger. I got Taco Villa. So hopefully I get back to Lubbock. So
Oh wow, that is just that
yes,
is a
I
heck
do
of a
cons, I
story.
do events. But see, that's part of it is like, I don't know too many 62-year-old women that can get through the airports and take care of stuff and still, like when my husband says, I'm hungry, I don't know what to do. I can order a pizza and have it delivered by the time he gets out of the shower.
Oh, that's sweet. So now you're married again, and I know that
Yes.
the gentleman's name is Chad because I follow you, for everything. He's not a wrestler though, right?
Yes, he did wrestle. He
Oh, he
wrestled
did.
for, back in like the early 90s for
Okay.
down at in Atlanta, and he was part of George South's crew with Italian Stallion. He worked a lot in this area
Wow.
of Western North Carolina.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he's got some YouTube videos on it. It's funny because like when we see Barbarian and Ricky, they all talk to him, because they remember working against him. But he was more family man and dedicated, and he had 2 small children at the time. So sometimes wrestling cannot be the most important thing in your life,
No.
even though you really, really, really want it to.
Yeah.
But we met at a event in Virginia. Oh my gosh, it was I want to say 2012, 2013, like that, something like that. We got married in 2017 on 4th of July in the front yard, and it's nice.
Oh,
He's got like 7 Harleys. He works on bikes and
wow.
big biker dude, and love him to
No,
death.
I saw his picture. He's cute too. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I'm not
No,
being
you're fine. He'll
disrespectful.
love it. Please, more and more, he'll love it.
I know. I saw his picture. I saw the bikes, and I saw you two guys with your little head things on and the helmets
Mhm.
and all that. I love it. I love that. I rode a motorcycle one time ages ago, and I got to tell you, it was probably one of the best feelings I ever had in my life.
Oh, it's
Um,
fun. I don't ride anymore. I got scared because it's just, I don't want to die on a bike. He wrecked one of them down the hill, and he came back and his hands all scraped up and his knees
yeah.
all the gone. And I'm not,
Yeah,
no.
no, I did. I rode a trike. It was a trike that I was on,
Right.
but it was so nice. It was so nice. We were in Ocean City, Maryland, and the
Oh,
guy that
yeah.
I was dating at the time, we were there for Bike Week, and I was terrified at first. And it's funny because I don't know if this is at all bikes, but on the side of the bike there were these little tiny pedals about that big, real cute.
Mhm.
And I said to him, I said, "Do I put my foot here?" He goes, "No, no, no." He said, "They're only for decoration." He said, "You don't do
Hey,
that."
but you asked. That's part of it right there is you asked. So that's good. You're good.
If I did it, I'd just broke him, and that would have been the end of it. He probably would have killed me. But it was one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. And no, I'm 67 now, and I had back surgery and blah blah blah. So no, I probably wouldn't do it again. But I'm glad I did get the experience. I really am. And it's like I'm trying to think of you got so many very cool, beautiful stories. I'm trying to think of questions to ask you, but you're telling us so much that this is unbelievable, and you're like I don't know. Like I said, I just I just love talking to you. And I want to ask you, and I know you told me this a while ago, but I want to ask you if you wouldn't mind repeating how you got the name Nickla.
Oh my gosh. I don't get asked that very often. My dad's name is Nick, for Nick Roberts, and my mother's name is Lorraine Ann. So they took his name Nick and her initials, so it's Nickla Ann. And so far, I mean, I've checked Google a couple of times, and I'm the only one that's spelled that way. The whole thing. There are some Nick Laws with Nick as
Right.
the first name and then Law as the last
Yeah.
name, but not anything. So I like the uniqueness of it. I was supposed to be a boy. I guess my parents at the time, because of the promotion and just getting together and, having the firstborn son was always, a big deal. And then I came out, but oh well. And
Oh,
so a year later, my brother was born, and his name is Robert Rebel Roberts. So
okay.
he's the triple R. So I'm kind of
Oh,
glad I
that's
came
nice.
first.
Do you only have one sibling? Is that
I
all you
just
have?
have a
Just
younger brother. Yes, he's a year younger than I am, and he's in Lubbock. He's in my parents' old house, and um,
wow.
we've just kind of gone different ways. He never got into the wrestling as much as I did. He stayed in Lubbock and had a very successful yard service, and studied political science there at Tech, and um,
Nice.
it's doing good. Doing good.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I got Joel's waiting, and he's like frothing at the mouth because I know he's dying to get on. We're going to talk. He's going to make a couple of announcements. I don't know if you're aware of this right now, but he has a big wrestling show coming up in May of 2025. I know you
Yeah,
spoke to him. Yes, that's what I'm holding. I'm like excited.
hopefully.
Oh, I can't. I'm going to tell you right now. I have to apologize to you now in advance for any stupidity that I do if and when I ever see you again. So I'm just
So,
letting you
so
know.
I have to dress up and look really nice, then, don't I?
Well, no, you could look exactly any way you want. You don't have to
No,
get
that
dressed up.
means I get another outfit. That means I can
Oh,
go
okay,
look
no,
for
you have
stuff.
to get dressed up real nice. Wear your old baby, get another baby doll outfit. But I got to tell you, because Jeannie's not even talking. So I mean, she's like in another world.
I'm
Yeah,
just in
I got
awe.
to tell you, I got to
In
tell you
awe.
when I do, if and when I do get to see you again in person, like I said again, I have to apologize in advance for any stupidity that I do or say at
The
that moment.
stars
I
will
may,
line up. We'll get them. We'll get them lined up. It'll
yep,
happen.
I hope so. I just may like jump on top of you and hug you and say, "Oh my God, I can't." But
Good.
we're going to bring Joel on right now,
Okay.
and he's got some really cool announcements that we're going to have for that particular show. Jeannie and I are going to do a live podcast that day as well, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I'm sure at some point you'll be involved in listening or hearing about it. But I'm
Okay.
going to bring him on because he's like ready to kill me. He keeps on making fists like this at me. So here's Joel. Stop making fists
Hey,
at me.
Joel.
Hey, Joel.
Hey, baby doll, how are you?
I'm well. Good to see you, my friend.
Good seeing you too. Is what, in fact, Carm, just so you'll know, the one time that baby doll actually worked for me, okay, I didn't mark out like you marked out, but I had baby
My
doll,
God.
and she was great. She came down the aisle, and it was like, because I remember her from the Tully days, remember her from the Dusty days, and there she was at one of my shows working with the TWA, which was kind of cool. It was kind of
Joel,
cool.
did I don't think you knew this. I was pregnant with my oldest daughter at that show. I had just found out I was pregnant.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Did you wrestle?
Did
That was
not know.
it was 1990, right? It was about
Yeah, yeah,
June
No,
or
wait a minute.
July of 1990. Yeah.
Did you
yeah.
I
wrestle that
gave
day?
I gave birth January 1st, 1991. So yes, I was pregnant with Micah during that show.
Unbelievable. In fact,
Wow.
one other thing, Carm, you had mentioned Sal Corrente. I don't know if you know this, but Sal was on my first TWA show.
Was he?
Awesome.
Oh
Okay,
my
and in
God,
fact,
that's crazy.
I spoke to Sal last week, as a matter
Yep.
of
The
fact.
big cheese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the big cheese. I got to tell you, I think honestly, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've ever marked out ever since we've been doing this podcast. And I love. Let me tell you, I love every star, every guest that we've had on. I'm eternally grateful. But this, I got to tell you, I had a little knot in my throat. I almost choked a little. And then when you said give me 10 minutes, I said to Jeannie, "Oh God, what if she doesn't count? What if she can't? We had to cancel because I announced it on Facebook, and then Bay put it on Facebook, and I'm like, oh dear God." And then when I saw you, I was like, oh, and like I got a little rock like right here. I can't. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. I talked about you all the time when
So
you were
wait,
wrestling.
Carm. So let me ask you a question, because you already told her that you might act stupid if you saw her. Somehow or another, I'm watching this conversation and I'm thinking May 3rd comes into play here, and I might have to give her a call. So with your permission, Carm, if you give me her number, I might have to just see this just to see you go stupid.
Is it all right if I give him your number, Baby
Of
Doll?
course.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going to say, why would that day be any different than you being stupid all the time? But
No.
No. This will make you super stupid.
Super stupid. I'm
And
telling you, I might drop things and everything. Like it's gonna take me a minute.
Well, what I might actually do, because everybody's got phones now with video, we'll just have to take the video of that meeting.
Oh my God. It's like, I can't, honestly, and I seriously have to be honest with you. I don't know if you've had other podcasts where people marked out like we did, but it's crazy. We've had, like, I've been involved in wrestling literally all my life. And, we've met a million different people. I've dated wrestlers. I have had them at my house. I have had family wrestlers. I have done so much, but I seriously have never marked out before. I'm stupid. I shouldn't do that. No, are you kidding?
Yeah, and here I look like, because I'm getting ready to go mess with my chickens, and I just had to come in because I was like, oh shoot, I forgot. And I'm talking to people on the phone and trying to line up stuff with my mom's house, and oh my gosh, and my daughter, and I forgot, and I'm sorry. So it's just
No, don't be silly. Are you kidding? I was so excited because when I originally asked Babydoll about the podcast, she was like, I don't know, because she's busy on Saturdays and blah, blah, blah. And I was almost ready to cry. And I was like, she cannot not do this. And then she said,
well,
yeah,
well, see, I have a 10-year-old. So believe it or not, like, I'm raising my husband's grandson, and he just turned 10. So, I mean, I've had him for like 6 years now. So he comes first with a lot of stuff. And then of course, my husband's up there between Ryder and Chad. It's right there. And I've got 2 daughters and almost 40 chickens and a couple of dogs and a couple of cats. And
so
it's a little busy around here. And so it takes a little bit for me to do stuff sometimes. So,
yeah. Do you actually have a farm?
I consider it a farm. My husband thinks that it's just a great big garden. So, my father-in-law and I got into a project of tomatoes. So one weekend we canned 92 quarts of tomatoes. And when I figured that out, that's like 20 gallons of tomatoes.
Yeah,
they're so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I actually taught myself how to can. So I've done the green beans and pickles and tomatoes, and I am so redneck at this point that I went on like Facebook Marketplace and found where I could buy some planters, like the big black plastic ones. And this was before COVID, so they weren't real plentiful, but then if you found them, you tried to buy them. So I had to go about an hour and a half down the road, and I'm trying to figure out in my head how many is going to fit in my car. That's how many I was going to buy. So the guy is the older guy, and he had to go up to the house and get a key. Well, his wife came out, and I'm in the car waiting because we have to go down the road to the shed that's got the plastic plots for some reason. So he has to go get the key and come back. So I'm waiting. She says, do you know how to can pickles? And I'm like, I did not hear what I thought I heard. And she's yelling in this real country. I mean, and she's got like the Aunt Bee nightgown on and everything.
Oh my God.
Do you know how to can pickles? And I was like, yeah. And she said, can you help me? Yeah. And I think, how redneck am I? And ended up that I traded them pickles for moonshine.
That is funny. That is funny as hell. Oh, that's crazy. So how long have you been doing all this stuff?
Oh, I guess since about 2016, whenever the year before I got married.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and my husband got a big tiller, and on top of the hill over here, he got me a big garden, and um writers helping me this year and next year. So and
Very
then my father-in-law had a big garden down at his place. So,
nice.
it's kind of the thing we do. So,
It's funny. I never talked to anybody who did the same thing. My mother used to can tomatoes, and she used
uh-huh,
to hang sausage. And we had our own chickens and roosters in the yard, and we had
right.
dinner. And I never realized that the bunches of chicken were going down more and more and more while we were eating dinner. But she, yeah, but
No,
she did all that
mine are
stuff.
just, I love mine, and I've got 36 of them now, and I think I've named 26 of them. I've got like several of them that I can't tell them apart. So it's like red 1 and red 2. So, and I
Oh,
try to tell them apart. I can't. I've probably had several hundred chickens in the past couple of years. Unfortunately, I free range, and sometimes they end up as raccoon or coyote or something, but
yeah.
it's kind of the price I pay. I just have to make sure that they're secure. But it's something that I've always done, and I'm very fortunate that I have a husband that listens and knew that I wanted a garden and I wanted to learn how to can, and um, just thank goodness I've got a man that takes care of me and can fix stuff because I break stuff often.
Yeah, but you know what? You have one of the few that are still good men.
Oh,
Unfortunately, that's
they
hard
they
to come
broke
by.
the mold with him, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's hard to come by these days, believe me.
Right.
Uh,
Well, see, we just went through Hurricane Helene, and I don't think any of us knew that it was going to be as bad as what it was, because we had just heard it was like a tropical storm. And
right.
then when it hit land, it was like a category 3, and then it jumped up to a category 4. And I know here I've got a rain gauge that's 6 inches, and I had to uh, empty it out twice. So I got at least 12 inches of rain in 24 hours just at
Wow.
my place. And I'm like right at the edge of like where all the chaos was. We
Oh,
had several
wow.
down trees, and we lost electricity for 5 days, and internet was over a week or right at a week. But he was out there in the rain, pouring rain, like with a chainsaw, clearing out the driveway for us and our neighbors. The
Oh,
church came by and was knocking on the doors and giving away food. And he my husband, I swear he wouldn't got the church gave him extra food because he said that there was going to be a big cookout. So
uh-huh.
sure enough, he went up to his uncle's house and got the big propane grill and invited all the neighborhood. And I swear there had to have been 30, maybe 40 people if you counted everybody all at one time.
Wow.
They came and ate. And he's there with like the cigarette hanging out of his mouth and the beer in one hand and the spatula in the other. And it was covered with food, but everybody got fed that day. So
Oh,
that's
that's
how it worked
good.
out. So that's my
Um,
man, and I'm proud of it.
hey, does he have a brother?
He's got a sister that's a hairdresser that does an amazing job.
I'm a hairdresser too. Oh my God. See that? We got a lot in common over here. I'm
There
telling
you
you.
go.
Very cool. All right, Joe, you have announcements you wanted to make. Let's get that
Yeah,
started, please.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's 2 announcements. And as you know, one of the commitments that we've made is that every announcement that we make, the first one will be on the Carmela show, the Carmela Jeannie show. Okay.
Carmela
And
Jeannie show,
so there's 2. One that is an announcement for those. I know you have a lot of listeners that sell a lot of wrestling paraphernalia. And as you know, we're having what we're calling a WrestleCon on May 3rd from noon to 3:30. And that's what I'm going to talk to Babydoll about when we get off of this thing. But one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're putting tables up for sale. So tables are up for sale as we speak. In fact, the first person that bought a table, or actually bought 2 tables, is a guy around here that's known as Professor Ouch, O-U-C-H. And many people know who he is. He had contacted me day 1 when we announced the May 3rd show, and he already put his reservation in for 2 tables. So if anybody does want to get tables for WrestleCon, for now anyway, just email me. My company name is Friendly Heart Productions, and it's friendly spelled friendly, heart, H-A-R-T, like Goodhart, productions @yahoo.com. So if you email me, I'll be able to get a hold of you and obviously get the table set up. Now, the second announcement is a little bit more important. The second announcement, last week, we announced our first attendee, if you will, at WrestleCon, and it was Sabu. and we got a tremendous response from people. Once they heard Sabu's name, they knew that this WrestleCon was going to be something special. Well, last week or 2 weeks ago, I started watching the McMahon story. And I know we all got around to viewing it. And the star of the McMahon show, I got to tell you, was Tony Atlas. Well, anyway.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. And Tony did have nothing to do with the TWA. Okay. But I said, you know what? There's somebody that's going to be hot. We need to get him. So anyway, we have a commitment. The second person at our WrestleCon is Tony Atlas. And he will be there. He'll be there for 3.5 hours.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah. And he's going to bring stories. You want to talk about stories? He'll be able to tell you stories. Now you ought to get him for another show of yours.
I'm trying because he when I talked to him last, he was doing artwork for John Cena, and he was like, "I can't talk to you now. I got to send this out, and I'll call you." And he never called, so I have to contact him again.
Okay. So anyway, go ahead. No. So now we have Sabu and we have Tony Atlas, and obviously I got a hot lead on one named Babydoll that I have to give her a talk to and find out if we can't get her up to come up north a little bit. You notice all the places she said: Chicago, St. Louis, Texas, South and West. She never gets up above the Mason-Dixon line. Well, we're gonna have to make sure we might have to make sure that happens. Now, my daughter has 16 chickens. So maybe what I can do is get her to meet my daughter and get more chickens or whatever the case might be. But anyway, right now, our two announcements today is obviously the tables are on sale for WrestleCon. We're getting a lot of reaction to WrestleCon. You do have to buy tickets, which we'll talk about in a second. And, of course, those tables will be available first come, first serve. We have a certain amount of tables that we can have at the 2300 Arena. Now, if you do want to get tickets for the WrestleCon, or if you want to get tickets for One and Done, our TWA show, you go to 2300arena.com and you can purchase your tickets. And the key point, the number of tickets for the show were limited to 897 tickets because that's the number of seats. For the WrestleCon, we have unlimited number of tickets. So we want to get those tickets sold so we get an idea of how many people we're going to have. We're going to have, if everything goes into place here, we should have all the TWA stars will be there. All of them, plus another, I'm going to say 15 to 20 stars that have appeared with the TWA at some point. Once in a while, we'll get somebody like Tony Atlas, who never appeared for the TWA, but they're hot, and we're going to get them to appear. So you need to be at WrestleCon. You need to be at One and Done, and we're going to have a hell of a party. And next week, we're going to announce the hotel deal that we put together for anybody who needs to stay at a hotel. And I'll give you a hint. We're going to have an after party at the hotel. So we're going to have a full day of activities. We're going to announce more details to follow. Maybe we'll get Babydoll to stay on top of a table and do a dance or something. God knows. We'll see. But bottom line, we got to convince her. We need to convince her to come up first.
Babydoll, she already agreed to do another podcast, and hopefully with her daughter Samantha. Okay, and we're going to do that, and hopefully we'll be able to announce at that time that Babydoll is one of the superstars that are going to be there. That would be so cool. Oh my God. Seriously, you don't know. Have you ever marked out for anybody, like, ever?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you know how I feel right now.
That's
right?
what life is about. I mean, shoot, with even in wrestling and stuff. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you know how we feel. Like I said, Jeannie's
Oh,
still
yeah.
not talking, but
I would hate if you look at some of my pictures and I'm cheesy smiling, you know that. Yeah,
that's a mark out. Yep.
It would be like if I met Randy Orton. Like if I met Randy Orton, there's no way that I wouldn't be like huge cheesy smiling, like just look like a big goober, and that would be okay. I'd have to deal with it.
Oh my God. It's funny. I think the only other people, and I'm going to be honest, wrestling people, I don't know. There's nobody else that I've marked out like that about, but I think if I could ever meet Cher or Elvis Presley, which of course isn't going to happen, right. I think those two I would mark out for because I love them both seriously. But like as far as
we froze.
What's that?
I said you froze up for just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You came back. You're fine.
Okay. But I mean, like I said, we have such respect for you because in my opinion, it's like you were the girl. You were the perfect 10, period. You were the girl. You set so many precedences for the women that are out today. And I see a lot of them, like when they're wrestling, like I see them like, trying to emulate different people. But now, and it's not like, their waist has to be 3 inches around and, stuff like that. It's like
Right.
they're almost looking normal again, and
Right.
but like you
Well,
took
one thing that I can say, like with the girls today, we were all talking about how things changed from like, my mom's time to my time to now. It would be so difficult to be a girl wrestler. Not that they have to work as much as like what I did or my mom did, but the social media, like just think like everybody is watching you all the time. And just think like going to the grocery store. I mean, yeah, I got watched whenever I was going to the grocery store, but not everybody had a camera, pointed at me and filming everything. And the girls, and they're so judgmental, and the fans, and just to be a troll or someone to say something mean. Not, I would hate to be in I wouldn't say I would hate it because it would be kind of fun, but to play the media with that, but just that your career could just be on a pinnacle of what somebody's opinion is.
Well, and what's funny is the people that have the worst opinions, in my opinion anyway, are the worst of the worst. You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody saying, to you as an example, well, I don't like your hair, or whatever, and then they have no hair. You know what I mean? How could you, how are you
I like being called a man, and it's kind of like, okay, you do realize that I've actually had 2 children come out of me. I think we're good on that one.
Yeah.
But it's so funny, like that you've had all day to think of something, and that's all you could come up with.
Got.
So
exactly. No, but I'm saying, it's like ever since you started, like anytime, the only time I would ever watch TV with wrestling, even back then, I mean, now I have to watch it for the podcast, but I always wanted to watch, Babydoll.
And there's a lot of wrestling. How do you do it? There's so much wrestling to watch. I mean, I try to, kind of keep up with it, but just, and there's so much good wrestling too. How do you miss it? Unless you're just watching little snippets here and there.
Yeah. What I do is I tape it, and then on the weekends that I don't work,
I
come in and I start running the tapes that I had, because there's really good stuff in all of it. Like in the NXT, they're coming up with a whole bunch of new talent, and that talent is good.
Right.
Like, there's a guy there named Obafemi who was one of the champions, and like just watching him come out to the ring, this guy's huge. He's like this big. And,
Lord.
And it's great. I mean, it's so good. And then you have AEW, which I like AEW.
And Camille's up there. Brickhouse is up there.
Yes,
North Carolina girl. So yes. I mean, I started watching just because of her. And then you've got NWA, and NWA, the girls division, the women's division is absolute fire. And I've said that for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Billy Corgan has really gone above and beyond, and just need to get that time spot where, it's easy to find them to watch. I think that might be a problem.
I can't get NWA. I can't get TNA either. Okay.
Right.
But like in the AEW, like going back to that, like it's like so many things that wrestling used to be. It's like it's all hardcore, and it's all like good stuff. And I love Will Ospreay. I mean, I really do. He is, in my opinion, one of the best technical, I guess you would say, wrestlers. Yeah, he does do the acrobats. He does, but there was a match, I think last week or the week before, was him against Ricochet. Oh my God. They wrestled like they were superheroes. They did the same exact falls, the same exact poses. I mean, everything.
Right.
And then I watched WWE, of course. And I liked somebody like Tiffany Stratton. She is, in my opinion, amazing.
And look at how far she's gone, because wasn't it just a couple of months ago, they were telling go back to NXT or whatever. So
yeah, but she reminds me a little bit of you years ago. Because she has the vigor. She doesn't care. She go after anything. She's not afraid, and she's beautiful at the same time. So it's not one of those real but she's gorgeous, and she can wrestle, and she jumps up off them ropes like they're not even there.
Right.
And
It's
again,
amazing. It's good.
yeah, she's good. And that brings me back again to you, because even though those really high flying acrobats weren't there, you demanded what you did. You demanded the respect. You demanded what you did, and you showed that you didn't give a crap. You know, you were you. You wanted to do what you had to do. You didn't care what anybody said. You didn't care what you had to do, and you did it. And that, to me, especially during those times when, like I said, women were so completely disregarded.
Right.
You know, like you were. I'm going to say this: you were the shit. That's it. That's all, I mean, I'm telling you. And the fact that we were actually able to get you on this podcast is like beside myself. I was telling my daughter when I came in the door, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. She goes, "What are you going to talk about?" I said, "I don't know. I don't
Let's see
know."
what happens.
I just
Well,
kept saying, "I
listen,
don't know."
it is 4:30.
Yes.
I have to step away. I have to start supper because my hardworking husband is going to be
Oh
home a
yeah.
little bit after 5,
Mhm.
and he likes to smell dinner when he gets out of the truck, and that's kind of the least I could do after his
Oh,
hard day of work. So,
that's all
and I
right.
like having good supper. So, and we got to
Baby
cook
doll.
greens. So I've got some collard greens, and they take about
Oh,
45 minutes.
I
So,
love collard greens. God bless you. Thank you so much for coming. I
Yes,
am
thank you so
completely,
much.
totally in
oh, you're
awe.
welcome. Thank you very much for having me,
Thank
and I'll
you.
get Samantha, and we'll be back.
Oh, I'd love that.
Baby,
I would absolutely love that. And then hopefully
I'll
we'll
be in
see
touch.
you.
Joel, call me
Okay.
tomorrow.
I will give you a call. You got it.
Can I
All
call
right.
you one day
Take
Bye,
just to
care.
y'all.
say
Bye-bye.
hi? Can I call
Bye-bye.
you one day just to say hi?
Yes.
Yeah, I can. Yay!
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay,
Absolutely.
have a good day. Say hi to your husband for us.
I will. Yeah, he just pulled up. I'm in trouble.
Oh, okay. Goodbye. Goodbye. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, I love her.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
I
My
can't.
screen is frozen. I don't know. Can you guys
I
hear me?
know. Poor Jeannie.
I hear
You've
you.
always
We
been
hear you.
frozen.
You're just frozen.
Okay.
Yeah. Slap yourself a little bit. Maybe
got
it'll freeze.
I got to get a new webcam, I guess.
Was
Well,
she amazing?
I got to
Or
tell
was
you,
she-
Carm, I might actually get her to come to the con just to see you mark out.
Oh my God! I can't.
Okay.
I
Now
can't.
here's what's going to happen next week. Just so you'll know, next week, whether it's me or Bay, we're going to announce the first match. We haven't announced any matches yet, so we're going to announce the first match. Maybe we'll confirm that we got a hold of Babydoll tomorrow and we got her locked up. Maybe that'll be something. And we're going to also talk about our hotel deal. Okay.
Great.
And I know that you kind of want us to drip. We want it to drip. Well, now the tickets are moving. Right now, 25% of our front row was sold. We're getting more signatures on the banner. We still need more signatures on the banner. And I will tell you, this thing is it's starting to snowball. And
Good.
if you're looking to get tickets for the holidays, and then the show is in May, and those tickets will be good for you for 5 months, so you can claim that you bought the tickets, etc. You got to be there. This is going to be a happening beyond belief. And now we got Sabu in the building. We have Tony Atlas in the building. God knows who else is coming in the building. Well, we know. But anyway, we're going to drip.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Carm, you're always the first.
Oh, thank you, Joel. I appreciate that. We both appreciate that very much.
I made that commitment to you months ago. So our
Well,
goal is to keep it good.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that because I appreciate that very much. And next week, our guest is going to be Jimmy Janetti.
Yep.
And you and Bay can hop on. You know, obviously, you're going to hop on whenever you can every week that we have something going on or that you want to make an announcement. So I will send you the link every week anyway.
Okay.
And then you can just hop on whenever you want. But I'm looking forward to hearing what Jimmy Janetti has to say. And
just make sure that Glenn Osborne doesn't get a link.
Why?
Okay, no, because those guys just do not like each other.
Really?
And they're coming. They're going to be both. They're going to be at the May 3rd show. And one of my biggest problems is I'm going to have Tony Stetson and John Highbody who want to kill each other. I'm going to. This is going to be a mess. And Jimmy Janetti and Glenn Osborne is another two that just fought all over the place.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that Glenn could get mad at anybody.
Oh, Glenn could get mad at Jimmy Janetti. Trust me.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that he doesn't get the link too.
Oh my
because
God!
we can't have that.
This is what I worry about all the time.
Wow, you better have some security there from what I'm hearing.
We're working on it. We're going to have security. Trust me when I tell you, the insurance people have already been in touch with me weekly. Okay, so we will know what we have to do. Oh my God.
Saying, oh, Joel, what are you doing to us?
Joel, can I ask you now? I know the answer to this, but I'm going to say, is all this worrying and stress over all of this worth it?
No.
You lie.
He's lying.
Liar.
Hey, look, all I know is I watched.
You love all this stress and chaos and.
Oh, no. I will tell you what's amazing to me, and the key answer is yes, it's certainly worth it. But this show is taking 1 year to put together. And when I used to do the super shows at the Civic Center, it was every 13 weeks. And it was amazing to me that we did 10 shows at smaller towns and high school gyms, et cetera. And then we'd have the big show. We had to put it together in 13 weeks. This is taking 1 year. Okay. Wow. And that's what's scary is how much time this takes. Now, I will tell you, for me, this is truly one and done. This is my last show. People have asked me, come on, you BSing us. And no, this is my last show. And I don't have any desire after this to get it. It's going to be out of my system. Now, come May 4th, I'm not sure what else I might do. I will tell you, I'm not doing another card. I promised to that on my grandson, now that I'm a grandfather, I am not doing another card. I might be doing some other stuff, but.
Let me tell you something, okay?
Yeah.
I don't believe one word that you said.
Well, you can believe it. Trust me.
I believe him. But
this is it.
Joel, you listened to the show that Bay was on, and he was saying about what comes after.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked a little bit of, I asked him, well, what does he want to do as of May 4th? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. So did you like what he had to say or what I had to say, my recommendations and suggestions?
Well, if I was going to do a podcast, I would do it with you guys. So I wouldn't do a separate podcast. But to be honest, no. I'll tell you what's going to happen. My book comes out May 3rd, and I'm going to have to go around to these cons all over the country to market my book. So that might be my concentration. And we'll see what happens after that. But when I market one and done, it isn't one and done and maybe. It's one and done.
Well, I think I had suggested not so much the podcast, what it was the just TWA reunion every year.
Well, that's a possibility. Here's the problem. We're getting older every year. Okay.
It doesn't have to be a show. It could just be the WrestleCon. Yeah.
I think what you guys need to do is revisit the idea that we used to do the Squared Circle fan club. I know you talked about that. Restart the Squared Circle fan club. Start doing. The problem is you're not going to be able to do lunches with the wrestlers because they all have agents. And before, I used to be able to cut the deal in the back with each guy and just gave him transportation. Now, if you wanted to talk to a Randy Orton, you got to talk to 17 different. It's just ridiculous. So you're not going to be able to
probably charge $20,000 for the lunch.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. The most that I ever paid for a luncheon was $1,000. Okay, and even when I had Ric Flair do his dinner, Ric Flair did it courtesy. Okay, I mean you couldn't get Ric Flair today. If we wanted him at our WrestleCon, it's 5 figures. Okay, and these guys now. That's what I'm saying. It'll never be the same. But if you started up the Squared Circle fan club again and even got together to watch some of these pay-per-views, get together I will tell you one of the big pluses that we're going to have May 3rd is you're going to be able to meet and greet DC Drake, Johnny Hotbody, Tony Stetson, Glenn Osborne, Jimmy Jannetty. I mean, I can go down the list all in one room. Okay, and for the WrestleCon, it's $20. So for $20, you get that, you can get autographs and pictures, and everybody's going to have merchandise to buy, et cetera, et cetera. I will tell you, the premise behind this this all started by the Square Circle. I mean, if you really take this all, it goes all the way back to Squared Circle. From that came the radio show. From that came the matches that Dominic DeNucci put on for us. Then we got the independent shows.
Don't forget Roma.
Yeah, and well, that's the matches, Saroma. Okay, so I mean, bottom line is it all started way back in the 80s. It's now 40 years later, unbelievable. But what you find is the people that are still around. Okay, I'm still looking for Mark from Cherry Hill. I don't know where the hell Mark. I don't know where he went. I'd love to find. I don't know
either. Maybe he still lives in Cherry Hill. I don't know.
I have no idea. I didn't know his name and phone. I didn't know. I did have his name somewhere, but I don't know. I don't even know how to get a hold of him. Hopefully, he's watching. And if he's watching,
you can't type in Mark from Cherry Hill. You know.
He just sent friendlyheartproductions@yahoo.com. Send me an email. I'll get a hold of you. But no, bottom line is we're going to have a party on May 3rd. Looking forward to everybody being there. I know a lot of your listeners have already bought tickets. Okay, I know some of the listeners and the names. And keep in mind, when you do go online to buy your tickets, we get your name, your email address, et cetera, so we know who's going to be there. And we're going to have some surprises for everybody.
And also, just in case you forget his email address, you guys know ours. It's 316carmela@gmail.com. So you can send us an email if you can't remember Joel's email, and we will forward it right to him. So that's important. But please keep in mind, the banner has to be put up, and the petition has to be signed. So please, I keep asking Bay. I got to ask him again to send me the link again, and we can put it up.
Later. Okay,
yeah, tell him to send the link and put the link up, and we're going to, hopefully, God willing, everything goes well. We're going to have all the wrestlers at one point, at one time or another, on our podcast. I'm hoping. And Joel, you said to me, "Don't you dare ask me what I'm going to do on May 4th." And then you went and brought it up.
Well, because I knew it was going to come up, and on May 4th, I plan on sleeping.
Can you smack yourself for me now? Because if I was there, I would smack you in the head. Right. Okay.
I'm into that, so be careful.
Because that part, well, first of all, it's going to be an all-day thing on the 3rd, plus the after party afterwards. Oh, yeah, no, Sunday, Might even have to take Monday off of work.
Day. Oh, yeah, Monday, too. Everybody's going to be sleeping Sunday.
Yeah,
that's sure.
The after party is going to start around 11 o'clock. So if you're at the matches and you want to, there'll be history. By the way, there is a historical story to that after party, which we'll talk about as soon as we get it all booked up.
Okay, great. And we're going to have podcasts. Our podcast is going to be live there. Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna be at WrestleCon. Yep.
Right. So anybody who wants to come, just make sure you come and you get to see Jeannie and myself. And I don't know how exciting that's going to be. I mean, it's not Babydoll, but and Jeannie's
actually, because I talked with a former fan club member, Rich Kincannon. I'm still friends with him, and he already bought his ticket in the same row that we are in. He wanted to sit next to us. And I said to him, and he says, "Are you going to be at the con?" And I said, "Yeah, we're doing the podcast live from there." And he's like, "I got to can I get in on that? Can I be on it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Everybody can be a part of it. Yep. Everybody can be a part of it. We're going to have a great time. And we're not doing anything else that whole weekend, man, because we are going to be so tired. But it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. And I think everybody's going to be in for a big surprise, a great show, an amazing con. And so far, Tony Atlas, he's nothing to sneeze at. Let me tell you, we're trying to get him for the podcast as well. So a little bit at a time.
Yep. Just think, this whole thing took 40 years in the making. That's the history here. It took 40 years in the making to come to May 3rd.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got 40 years of history going on.
That's amazing.
And I believe it'll be history making. Okay. I think that night, the whole thing will be a history making event.
Oh yeah.
Something that'll go down in the logs, as they say, for eternity.
Well, and I'll tell you just simply put, when this thing comes off, first of all, it'll be spectacular. If you're not there, you'll be so sorry, because it can't happen again.
No.
It cannot happen. Can't happen again.
That's true. That's true.
That's it. So you got to be there.
That's true. And let me tell you something else too. Even if something were to happen again, it would not happen at the 2300 arena. It wouldn't be the same people. It wouldn't be the same event. It wouldn't be the same con. You have to understand, like Joel said, this is 40 years in the making. You guys who have followed us since Rasslin Radio and Squared Circle and followed him when he had his wrestling, you guys know that it was something special. It was always something special. And it'll never, ever be the same. It'll never happen again. Not in that way. So if you miss it,
we're even renaming a hotel. I'll just leave it at that. We're renaming a hotel for that day.
Yep.
Wow.
And we're going to be allowed to.
Yes.
I'm saying we. It's you. I'm saying we. But yeah, and Jeannie and I will do whatever we can to help Joel, move this along as we go. And like Joel said before, whatever big announcements are coming, they're going to come on our Rasslin Radio program first. So please keep listening and please subscribe and let your friends hear it too. And please just get one of your friends to sign the petition. We're like, I think, what did Bay say, Jeannie, last week? Did he
I think like
587.
Yeah, we're almost at 600.
Yeah,
almost at 600. Yep, we need like a little over 400. It's not a lot. Come on, people. You can do this, all right? So we're going to post this. Everything's going to be cool. We're going to have a great show. Anybody else have anything to add?
Nope. Thank you, Carm, for giving us the opportunity.
Oh, God, anytime. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. That's more like
I'm
it.
going to video you and Babydoll if I can pull that off.
I'm telling you right now. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I know what it is, but I don't, you know what I mean? There's something about her that I have loved from day one. It's crazy.
Same here.
Yeah. She's always been so forceful and she's always been so badass. Like Jeannie said, badass. And she still is, and it's nice to see her happy. She seems very happy.
Yeah.
And it's nice that some people can be happy. But her husband is a big guy. He's a force to be reckoned with too. And her daughters are gorgeous. God bless them. And hopefully we'll be able to get Samantha Starr on here too. I can't wait to interview her. That's going to be great because I need to go back and do some more research on her. But she's good. She is good. So God willing, we'll have a whole bunch more to tell you in the coming weeks. So please listen. Please make sure that you follow us. And we're going to be on any platform that you watch because I'm paying enough for it. So it's going to be on any platform that you watch every week. So please, whatever I do YouTube mostly, but YouTube I think is the best. But, you can do it on any platform. And we'll be back again next week with Jimmy Janetti and hopefully not Glenn Osborne and Jimmy Janetti together. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know, man. It's scary sometimes because Glenn's already been on the show twice. So I don't know if he has ways of getting that code. He better not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be an event, man. Let me tell you. And then one week we're gonna have you and Bay on together. Oh my God. And by the way, didn't you have something you wanted to say to Bay?
Yeah, he's an asshole too. Because he's Chubby Dudley, he's a bigger asshole than me.
Yeah, he dogged you. He really did dog you.
Yeah, he really did. He's a flaming asshole. He's not just an asshole. He's a flaming asshole.
You feel better now, Joe?
I feel better. Just remember, we wrestled, we brawled, and we started it all.
That's right, exactly. And also don't forget, can I say the other one? The poem?
Sure.
We're out of the closet, no longer meek. We're finally admitting we're wrestling freaks, and we are.
There you go.
End of story. Okay, guys, I'm ending this now because I'm hungry, and I got my tooth pulled, and I can only eat certain things, and I got to go find something really soft and yucky to eat, but I'm hungry, so I'm going to go eat.
As you're eating, just keep repeating, Bay's an asshole, Bay's an asshole, Bay's an asshole, Bay's an asshole, Bay's an asshole. Keep going until you go off the air, Carm. Bay's an asshole, Bay's an asshole. Bay's an asshole. Bay is an asshole. Bay is an asshole. You better get off, Carm, because I'm going to keep going. Bay is an asshole.
Okay, I'm ending it right now. Ending it.
Asshole.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bay, you're an asshole.
Bye.
Bay,
Love
you're
you
an
all. See
asshole.
you later.